We thought, well, we're going to make this record, and if it's the last record we make, and the world doesn't need any more Flaming Lips records, we would know that we did the thing that we wanted to do. Previous to us making the Soft Bulletin, we probably were wrongly overly concerned with seeming like we were a cool, weird rock group. We were working towards things that seemed more emotional and seemed based on the power of the melodies, and the power of the chord structures and all this drama that we would put in it. And so we're doing some of these tracks on the Soft Bulletin I hear now that are easily a couple of hundred tracks, placing orchestra pieces and flutes and viola players and all this stuff, layering vocals that should be done by a 40-piece choir, but it's us going in there overdubbing one at a time. And all that didn't seem like anything compared to the stuff we were doing to Czarika. So we're used to lifting 10,000 pounds, and to just lift 1,000 pounds seemed like nothing. Well, Waiting for Superman it's a devastatingly sad, powerful song. And that's the very reason why we didn't think anybody would care. I mean, who really is cool enough to want to listen to a song like that, But we felt it was important, and we didn't really have a choice. These were the songs that we were doing. This is what we wanted to do. And my father was dying of cancer, and my older brother and I would do these runs around the lake, and we would talk while we exercised and rode bicycles and stuff. And I was very despondent and scared about this idea, this thing that was happening to our family or whatever. And I got the impression that he was already a little bit more brave and accepting about it. He comes across a very sensitive person, but on some level, he would be way ahead of me. He's a lot smarter and tougher and all that. And, I asked him, is it like, in that sense that the song Superman says, is it getting heavy? And his response was he thought it was already. We're already there. And I keep thinking, he's the one that's going to guide us through this, and he's going to let me know. And he's like, no, man, it's already, we're already there. There's nothing that we can do about it. It's already, and that's what I think is in those songs. It's you being scared, but you accidentally being brave, you not thinking you can handle it, and you kind of on one level handling it at the same time. And I would have never thought that music anybody would be able to relate to it. I just thought it was just a weird anomaly of what's happening in my life. And yet, having that be in the music and having that be, not just what we're singing about, but in everything about it, really, really does work. And people will come up to me virtually every night that we play, and there's this secret code that's in the music, and we don't really have to speak about it. And people will point to that song, and that's the song that the person I'll be talking to, him and his older brother talked about when their father was dying of cancer. And you're just like, that's not in the music. That's not, you wouldn't know that from looking at it. But if you're in the right state of mind and you hear it, I think it communicates that. And that's not something that you could do. That's not something that you could figure out. It's just following some subliminal yearning, a little whisper at a time, and not giving in to anything else. I mean, so yeah, I can be obsessed in that way and hope to get lucky or something. Well, I mean, the Spider Bite song, I feel like it puts itself out there as a whimsical, funny kind of song. And again, I think when I played that song for Steven, he would have a reaction. Dave Fridman as well is like, you can sing that sort of song and it will go into this area where it's like another singer that would kind of feel maybe like stupid or too silly or something. And I think that's exactly the way I like it, where it's like I'm the presenter of my own unique world and no one else can speak for me, and it starts off with me talking about a spider bite that Stephen had on his hand that, at the time would have been a devastating blow to the Flaming Lips, life. If our main musician, our master musician, who uses his hands to do, though it's in his mind, it still takes his hands to do all this, very articulate and precise stuff. If he went to the doctor and the doctor said, yeah, we may have to cut off your arm, as if that was a good solution. And we're like, no, we can't lose. And so I think part of that is us trying to, come to grips with like what how devastating that could have been. Michael, around the same time, was involved in a bizarre car accident where he's sitting at a stoplight and a wheel had become dislodged from a car coming in front of him, and the wheel crashes into his driver window and windshield there, and he was just inches away from having his head crushed in. And then I decide to kind of write a song about how all that is related to someone's heart being so broken that they don't want to live anymore, and not being too embarrassed to show to these guys or to myself that would destroy me. And I'm thinking, well, that could be a song. And then with a lot of good help and a lot of luck, it comes across. I still think it sounds, charming, and you kind of root for the things that I'm hoping go well. You know what I mean? And, I use the analogy of like hatching an egg, It's like this egg, if you don't let it go all the way, it's not going to turn into the bird. And if you try, you wouldn't know it's going to be a bird in just a little bit. And if you go and try to make the bird come out too early, it would never become a bird. And you just have to keep believing, and sometimes it comes out and it's not a very good bird and you just move on. But the egg doesn't resemble the bird, If I was to look at it and you say, this weird round thing, it's hard, it's full of liquid or something. If I said, this is going to turn into this weird feathery thing that flies around, you'd be like, dude, you're tripping. But it really does, And music and art is a lot of the same dilemma, What you're doing doesn't always look or sound or have isn't very similar to what it's about to be. And that's where insanity and belief and all that, you have to be obsessed with that. Once we started to play shows after putting out the Soft Bulletin, we just weren't that interested in playing shows. And so, our idea was, well, if we're going to play shows, let's just do whatever. And that's when I started to have hand puppets and throw confetti and balloons around. And I still, to this day, am utterly amazed at what a reaction throwing balloons out to a bunch of people taking acid, how much that can really be an amazing thing. I mean, people still talk about that. And I'm like, it really is just balloons. We've all seen them 1,000 times. But if you do them at the right time in this heightened atmosphere, it's magic. And I say that about our audience. We all go into this thing, and it turns, the difference between what happens at a sound check, which is virtually the same thing that we're going to do sometimes just an hour later, only there's going to be a bunch of people there. It's no different, except people are excited and people are accepting and people are giving their love, and it utterly changes it. And yeah, I think we're very lucky and still are that it works. It still works on us. I mean, even though it's going to be 20 years old before too long, it's a record that's always with us, and we're always considering it. We're always playing it. We're always celebrating it.